Welcome to Twisted Threes. Please subscribe, like, share, and smash the notification bell. Let's get on with the stories. The land remembers. One night I was camping near where an old river dam had been. I pulled the canoe in late, so I just draped the tarp over the canoe and crawled in underneath it and fell asleep. In the middle of the night, I woke up to the sound of roaring water. I crawled up out from under the tarp and the sound stopped. I thought I must have been imagining it, or it was the wind through the trees or something. I crawled back under the tarp and the sound started again. This time, when I crawled out, it didn't stop. The sound got louder and louder. I realized that it sounded like water ripping through the woods. Even the dogs had their hair on end. I quickly pulled the tarp off the canoe and dragged it up to the top of a ridge and waited to see what was making that noise. Then I heard the voices, men yelling and a dull thumping noise. I huddled down next to the boat, pulled the dogs close, and waited for the sun to come up to find out what was happening. Morning came and there was nothing to see. To this day, I don't know what that was, but I have my ideas. I will not camp there ever again. I was told that the land remembers, and that's fine, I just don't need to be there when it's remembering. The thing. When I was younger, I used to visit family with my grandmother in Knoxville, Tennessee. She had 9 brothers and sisters that lived up there, and they all had children, my cousins. Everyone lived in one really large house. The house had a huge backyard, about 3 football fields long, but past the yard on all sides was nothing but mountains and woods. On one visit, I was out in the woods, although wasn't supposed to be. Adults would always yell when I saw what I guessed to be a half-body apparition. I never found an explanation for it. I can only describe it as a half-person. The torso was missing. It was just black, but almost see-through black, if that makes sense. It wasn't in a straight form, it was almost like moving gas. But it was definitely the lower portion of a very tall person. It just materialized suddenly, although the moment before I saw it I heard a noise that I can't describe. It sounded like a really heavy person, around 300 to 400 pounds, to make that noise, stepped on a really heavy or thick branch and cracked it. I booked it up to the house as fast as I could. My oldest cousin stopped me, and I explained as much as I could at the time. He had also seen something similar a few summers before that. The scream. Some friends and I were doing some night fishing on the James River. We were sitting along the shoreline with a nice fire going, accompanied by the usual idle talk and a few beers, when suddenly everyone just stopped talking like a switch was flipped off. We were all staring across the river and felt as if something or someone was staring back. It was a very uneasy feeling, to which some of the group tried to shake off with the typical macho humor, when a blood-curdling sound erupted from the other shore that froze everyone in their tracks. This sound was unlike any other that I had heard, and it made every hair on my body vibrate and tingle. The only way I can describe it is it sounded like a wild person with no language skills being gutted alive. No words, just this high-pitched blood-curdling scream. Nobody moved or said a word. We all just sat there fixed in our stare, when just as suddenly a second scream was let loose with even more force than the first. By this time, several of us were sprinting to our trucks that were parked within 20 or 30 feet and retrieving various firearms. We all sat there quietly with our eyes fixed, staring toward the opposite shore, watching the light from our fire reflecting off the rocks. Hours later we packed it up and left, feeling very unsettled. We never did figure that one out or even hazard a guess as to what was on the opposite bank. To submit your own Sasquatch or other creepy encounter, email us.